Hello once again from Egypt Sustainability Forum in Soma Bay, Ghordaka, Egypt. We're having with us Ms. Maali Khader, a regular basically attendee and speaker all across the region from Amman to Dubai and here in Egypt. What is the message that you're trying to convey, and what is the update of ESG and the status of ESG in Egypt compared to the rest of the region?
Thank you very much. One, I'd like to start with, I'm really proud to see the way ESG has evolved in the last few years in Egypt and in the region in general. So that's a starting point. Today, the message is ESG is very important, very integral to operations. It is no longer a nice to have. It is a critical business component. And I'm glad to see that Egypt, after COP27, is driving this journey forward, trying to set new standards and to move the region ahead with respect to ESG.
Amid all those, cooperation between, we're seeing lots of UAE investments, Saudi investments in Egypt, the integration between the different countries of the region. We saw you in Dubai last week. How can we basically integrate all the ESG practices for the well-being of the entire region?
That's a tough question. I think we need to agree on some sort of regional metric. The GCC have started by issuing an ESG disclosure requirements, a unified, exactly, and that would be a good starting place to extend that to the region, so that we have an agreed on baseline to report on, to measure performance on, to track evolution and development. So I think that's a good way to start a collaborative regional approach.
Yeah. We saw here some CSR practices, CSR talks against sustainability, and now we're moving into ESG. So basically the curve is ongoing in Egypt, unlike perhaps differently from other countries in the region. How can we basically have the curve smoother for the Egyptian business community?
I think it's flowing as smoothly as it can in a country of this size, in a country of this scale, and at this stage of its development. Egypt is one of the most historical countries in the world. So I think it's going back to the basics, starting slowly and baby steps, one foot in front of another.
Basically, we know that in terms of governance, you are our champ and the master. We talked about the ESG laws in the Middle East, but what about Egypt? It has its own basically circumstances and criteria, taking into account close relationship with the global donors, with the EU, with all that, with the NGOs in the Middle East, global NGOs. How can we make the ESG smoother in Egypt in particular?
I think finding specific action items that will move Egypt forward is one way to bring the private sector and the public sector together for one clear mission. That's one approach to do it. Another approach may be to consider key variables or key concerns for the local stakeholders that will bring everybody together and work towards a unified objective and create impact in a substantial way.
Let's talk education in terms and awareness. We as ESG BINA, as the first and only ESG knowledge hub in the Middle East, are very active and committed to spreading knowledge and ESG knowledge. Besides this event, which is once a yearly event, what can be done in Egypt in terms of collaboration? Are you planning any collaboration between the academia, such as universities and the colleges all across?
I would love to see sustainability or ESG being taught at universities across the region. I think there's a few programs that are being taught here in AUC, but there's always room for more. I think it really needs to be integrated into the school curriculum, not wait to universities. The new generation is our future, and their understanding of ESG is critical.
Thank you very much.